All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're looking into something pretty fascinating.
Okay.
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps, yeah?
You know those little bumps you get on your
Yeah.
skin
Yeah.
when you're cold or when something exciting happens?
hmm
Well, we've got this really interesting educational video script about goosebumps.
Okay.
And it turns out there's a lot more to them
I bet.
than you might think.
Yeah.
So to get started, maybe you could tell us,
Sure.
what exactly are goosebumps?
So, when you get goosebumps, what's really happening
Yeah.
is that tiny muscles called erector pili muscles,
Okay.
which are attached to each hair follicle, they contract
Right.
and they pull the hairs upright, and that creates those bumps on your skin.
So it's like each hair is standing on end.
Exactly. Now, in animals with a lot of fur, this actually helps
Oh, really?
keep them warm.
How does that work?
Well, when the hairs stand up,
Uh-huh.
it traps a layer of air close to the skin,
Okay.
and that acts as insulation. But for us humans, we don't have as much hair.
Right. We're not as furry as like a dog or a cat.
Exactly. So the insulation effect isn't really that significant.
So then why do we still get goosebumps?
Well, that's a good question. It seems like it's a reflex that's just stuck around.
Like an evolutionary leftover.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. But what are those goosebumps you get when you're not cold? Like when you're listening to a really powerful piece of music?
Ah, yes, the chills.
Yeah. Or watching a really moving scene in a movie?
Those are a little bit different. They seem to be connected to our emotional responses,
Yeah.
particularly to moments that trigger the release of dopamine in the brain.
Dopamine.
Yeah, that neurotransmitter that's associated with pleasure and reward.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, these intense emotional experiences can actually trigger the goosebump reflex.
Wow. So it's like our bodies are physically responding
Exactly.
to those feel-good moments. That makes me think about the term frisson.
Oh, frisson.
Yeah. Have you heard of that?
Yes, it's like a more intense form of goosebumps.
All right. It's like those chills that some people get
Exactly.
from music or art.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be really powerful for some people.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's still not entirely clear why some people experience frisson so strongly and others don't.
But it's definitely a sign that there's a strong connection between our emotions
Mm-hmm.
and these physical reactions.
It's a great example of how our minds and bodies are really interconnected.
Absolutely. So we've talked about how goosebumps are triggered by cold
hmm
and by emotions. What about fear?
Fear is definitely a trigger, too.
Okay.
Goosebumps are controlled by the sympathetic nervous system,
And that's...
which is the same system that's responsible for our fight or flight response.
Oh, so that's why we get goosebumps
Exactly.
when we're scared or stressed.
Our body is preparing us to either fight or run away.
Wow, that's amazing.
And goosebumps are just one of the many physical changes that happen when our sympathetic nervous system kicks in.
So it's like our bodies are trying to help us survive,
That's right.
even though we're not really facing life or death situations very often anymore.
But the instinct is still there from our evolutionary past.
I was reading that even the term goosebumps
Uh-huh.
comes from plucked goose skin.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's very literal. But it makes sense when you think about how goosebumps make our skin look kind of bumpy, like a plucked goose.
Exactly. Well, I think this has been a really fascinating look into goosebumps.
I agree. It's amazing how much we can learn from something so simple.
So next time you feel those goosebumps pop up,
Mhm.
take a moment to think about what might be causing them.
Are you cold? Are you excited? Are you moved by something beautiful? It's a great way to tune in to your body.
Yeah, and to appreciate how connected our minds and bodies really are.
That's right.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but we'd love to hear from you. What was the last thing that gave you goosebumps? Share your experiences with us in the comments below. And until next time, stay curious.